Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for another stream. In today's video, we'll be discussing our team selection for Game Week 30, and we will also be reviewing our scores from Double Game Week 29. But yeah, before we start, how are you, Jordan? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. It's nice to have the Easter holidays now. So imagine a lot of you are off work like I am until Tuesday. So yeah, it's a nice little break and we can sort of chill out and enjoy the football that has to come this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Game Week 30 is fast approaching. But before we start about Game Week 30, let's bring up Game Week 29 scores and discuss, because it was a big week for me. So let's start with what happened. So yeah, as you guys know, double Game Week 29 was the biggest game week we've seen so far this season. Very successful one for me as well. I am on a bench boost. For those that don't know, I did activate my bench boost early because I knew I planned for this week. And yeah, let's go ahead and discuss what happened. So let's start with my goalkeeper, Kepa. You know, 2 games for him. Obviously, Chelsea playing Aston Villa in that 2-0 loss, which was unfortunate because obviously Chelsea couldn't keep a clean sheet. But luckily, Kepa did keep a clean sheet against Liverpool in that 0-0 draw, which was quite nice to see from Kepa. Liverpool were quite poor in that game, didn't really have many chances. So, yeah, the clean sheet was quite comfortable in the end for Chelsea. Moving on to the back four, I've got Estupinian for a 7-pointer after his clean sheet against Bournemouth in that second game in the double. Obviously, in the first game, he only got 1 point because he did concede 3 goals to Brentford. But overall, he ends up with 7 points, which is very nice. Moving on to Kieran Trippier, who comes away with a lovely 14-pointer. He did get an assist against Manchester United in the first match, in the first fixture. He also got a clean sheet, obviously, and the 3 bonus points. So got a lovely 12-pointer against Manchester United. However, he only got the 2 points blank against West Ham in their 5-1 thumping of West Ham. So all in all, he ends up with 14 points, which is very nice. Moving on to Luke Shaw, who was a very, very big disappointment because a lot of people took -4s and hits to bring Luke Shaw in. So, me included, I actually took a -4 to bring Luke Shaw in, who only got 1 point, which was very disappointing. He only got 1 point against Newcastle in the first game after conceding 2 goals in that 2-0 loss. And then last night, Luke Shaw was actually injured and he went off after 36 minutes. And he also got a yellow card last night, and that was a -1 as well for that. So unfortunately, he ends up with only the 1 point. He ended up with 0 points last night after that injury in 36 minutes. He is currently flagged, so we'll have to wait and see what the situation is with Luke Shaw and if he's fit for Game Week 30. Moving on to Ben Chilwell with a bit more success, similar to Kepa, no clean sheet. He actually got 0 points in the first game against Aston Villa, because obviously he picked up a yellow card. But against Liverpool, he was a lot better, actually. He kept the clean sheet. He played 77 minutes. And luckily for me, Chilwell also got the 3 bonus points against Liverpool. Some will say he was unlucky against Aston Villa. He probably scored a goal, which should have counted. I thought it was a soft. So in the end, he could have got a very nice return if that goal went in. But nonetheless, 9 points is still very nice. Moving on to the midfield 4, I got Mitoma. Mitoma probably is the player I should have captained, the Brighton player I should have went for. But, he scored a goal against Brentford. And then he also scored another goal, I believe, against... sorry, not a goal. He got an assist against Bournemouth. So goal and an assist. 1 bonus point last night, plus the clean sheet point as well. So he gets a very nice 14-pointer. And well done to those that went Mitoma captain. For those that didn't watch the stream, I did accidentally captain Solly March. It wasn't meant for him. It was actually meant for Rashford. But yeah, Solly March did end up getting me something in return. He did get an assist in that first match against Brentford. And he also got the clean sheet point last night. But I think us March owners are a bit unlucky. He should have definitely had a goal in that first game against Brentford. I don't know how he didn't score, but in the end, 16-pointer. It was an accident, but I'll take it all day. Moving on to Marcus Rashford. He did blank in that first game against Newcastle, but however, he did score last night, and he picked up 2 bonus points, and he ended up outscoring Solly March by 4 points. So, Rashford captaincy would have been better if I went there, which was my original plan. But 12 pointer for Rashford is still a nice return. Rashford. Fernandez. Unfortunately, my other transfer in, the 2 transfer ins was Fernandez and Luke Shaw. And they were my 2 lowest returners. Fernandez did blank in both the games. No goals, no assists. And you did pick up a yellow card as well last night, Fernandez, for the slide tackle, I believe. So, yeah, in the end, only the 4-pointer from him. A bit disappointing because I expected him to get at least 8 to 10 points, but it wasn't meant to be. Moving on up front, Watkins, probably the man of the game week with a lovely 17-point haul after his goal and the 2 bonus points against Chelsea. And then again, a goal against Leicester in the second fixture and picking up the 3 bonus points as well. So Watkins ends the game week with a lovely 17-point haul. Moving on to Tony. He did score against Brighton and also picked up the 3 bonus points. And then last night against Manchester United, he did blank. He should have maybe had an assist. I thought Brentford missed a really nice chance where Tony slipped the player in. I forgot his name. Should have scored. David had done a really nice save. But in the end, it was a 11-pointer from Tony, which is still a very respectable return. And then finally, as I am on a bench boost, let's speak about what happened with my bench. So Raya, who picked up a clean sheet against, not a clean sheet, he got some save points against Brentford after a whopping 11 saves against Brighton in that first fixture. He also got the 2 bonus points as well in that game. And then last night, he did concede that 1 goal to Manchester United, so only the 2 points there. But overall, for an 8-pointer, which is quite nice. The other disappointment was Saka. We know Saka ended up being benched due to him being ill. And yeah, that was probably the downer of my bench boost. Saka only getting the 1 point after coming on in about 60 minutes. Harry Kane does what he does, and he scores another goal against Everton in that 1-0 win, 1-1 draw, actually, I should say, after Everton's late equaliser. He also picks up the 2 bonus points in that single game week for Harry Kane. 7 points, still very nice return. Yeah, Harry Kane carries on scoring. Finally, moving on to Sven Botman. Got the clean sheet against Manchester United, so 7 points in that game. And the last night, he only got the 2 points due to them conceding against West Ham. So it picks up 9 points. So overall, it's a very, very successful game week 29. I think it's about a 200k green arrow. Obviously, I've got to mention I did take a -4. So what you see on the screen, 138 points, -4. So essentially, I did get 134 points because I took the hit for Bruno and Shaw. So that is my team overall. I am currently up to 328k. I was around 511k, I think. So it's been a lot better, I'll say, since Game Week 23. I think my rank in Game Week 23 was 1.6 million. So big strides in what's been a very difficult season because, most of the season I've been languishing either 1 million, 800Ks. It's been hard to break rank. Hopefully, I can keep it up going into the end of the season and keep up the green arrows. But yeah, that's been my team for Game Week 29. Let's bring up your team, Jordan, and just discuss how your double Game Week 29 has gone.
Yeah, it's not quite gone the way I wanted to, but I knew a lot of people were using chips this week, obviously from bench boost being the popular one. But we'll start off with Meslier, who only gets to 2 points from both his doubles. Obviously, in the first one, Leeds did lose 4-1, so he did concede a lot, and he got -2 for that and ended up with 0. In the second game against Nottingham Forest, Leeds did win, but it was 2-1, so there was no clean sheet for Meslier in either of his doubles, so he only ends up with 2 points from minutes played. Moving on to the defence, we got Dunk, who did get 7 points. He did get a clean sheet in his second game, so he did get the clean sheet in the second game where Brighton won 2-0 against Bournemouth. In the first one, obviously, it was 3-3 against Brentford, so there's no clean sheet for him. It was just a -1 point taker from the goals conceded. But at the end of his 2 doubles, he does end up with 7 points. So it's not a bad return, despite the madness of the game in his first part of the double. Moving on to Trippier, who does get a double haul. He did get the clean sheet and the assist and the bonus free in this first match against Man United, where Newcastle won 2-0. And in the second game, this was a crazy score, but it was 5-1 to Newcastle, who was against West Ham, which was an away fixture as well. So it wasn't a clean sheet for Trippier in that game, unfortunately. But at the end of it, he does get a nice double haul of 14 points. Next, we got Ben Mee, who was, I'll say, not the greatest pick in terms of defence, as he only gets 3 points at the end of his double, being the 3-3 draw against Brighton and the second game where Man United beat Brentford 1-0. So neither clean sheet for Ben Mee in either of the double game fixtures, and only getting the 3 points from the match time played. And finally, we've got Luke Shaw, who only gets the 1 point. He did come off early in the second game against Brentford due to his hamstring. There isn't much to say about his hamstring injury. Only that Ten Hag said after the game that it was way too soon to know what the extent of the damage was for his hamstring. But he did have to come off in that second game, and he only got the 1 point for minutes played. I think it was about 36 minutes, but he did get yellow card as well, so a point was deducted off of that, which after all that is left him with 1 point only. Moving on to the midfield, this is my captain, Fernandes. It was quite a flop of a captain because in the first game, obviously, Man United didn't score against Newcastle, so Bruno only got 2 points from the minutes played. In the second game, even though Man United did score 1 goal against Brentford, the only point he got was from minutes played and clean sheets. But he did get a yellow card in that, so you had a point taken off of him. So at the end of all that, he only ended up with 8 points because I did captain him. So yeah, no returns for Fernandes apart from the clean sheet. So it was a bit disappointing that I got the captaincy wrong. Moving on to Rashford, he had a bit more fortune in the second fixture. Obviously, Man United won 1-0 against Brentford, and Rashford was the goal scorer for that. He did get the bonus points and the clean sheet on top of his goal scored, so he did end up with a nice double haul of 12 points. Moving on to the final midfielder, and that is Mitoma, who did get the 14 points. He had quite a storm in both double game weeks matches, as he did score in the 3-3 draw against Brentford, and he did also get an assist in his second double game fixture against Bournemouth with a clean sheet and a bonus on top of that as well. So a nice little double haul for Mitoma, 14-pointer. And moving on to the front three, we've got Watkins, who had a great double game week as well. In his first fixture against Chelsea, Aston Villa did win 2-0, and Watkins was one of the goal scorers for that. He also got a bonus too on top of that as well. And in his second fixture against Leicester, where Aston Villa did win that one as well, 2-1, he did score in that game too with a bonus 3. So it was quite a nice return for Watkins in that double, especially with both matches being away as well, being tough. Watkins did deliver, and congrats if you did captain Watkins as well. Moving on, we got Tony, who does do well in his first fixture with the 3-3 draw against Brighton. He did score and got the bonus 3 in that first match. He was a bit misfortunate in the Man United game where Brentford didn't score and they lost 1-0 to Man United. And finally, we got this was my transfer in for Harry Kane, and this was João Felix. And yeah, he only got 4 points, and that was from minutes played in both games. So obviously, Chelsea did lose that to Aston Villa 2-0, and they did draw to Liverpool in the second game week fixture. And yeah, that was 0-0. So yeah, nothing from João Felix. Pretty quiet. Wasn't quite surprised that he didn't score, but I kind of thought he would have got something from one of those home fixtures. But no, it wasn't to be. And pretty much on the bench, not many returns. Ederson got 2 points. Obviously, Man City conceded a goal, and they did win 4-1 against Liverpool. Saka, he was bench, a surprising bench in that 4-1 win against Leeds. Odegaard did get an assist and a bonus one in the 4-1 win. And Kilman got only 2 points because obviously they drew with Nottingham Forest 1-1. But overall, it has been a terrible week in terms of rank. Obviously, this was expected because I wasn't playing any chips like the bench boost because I already used it. But I am on the red arrow. I am now currently sitting just above 600k. I'm at 592k. But I did get 93 game week points, which looks pretty good, but wasn't good for my rank still, as a lot of people got much higher. And I'm on a total 1,831 points. So yeah, that's pretty much how my summary's gone in double game week 29.
Okay, so that's game week 29 out the way. It was a very high scoring week. Obviously, a lot of people breaking that 100-point barrier. But let's move on to chat to game week 30 because that's what we're going to discuss now and how we're shaping up for game week 30 and what our teams look like as well. So first up, this is currently what my team looks like for game week 30. So I'll quickly just go through my squad with the fixtures they have. So Kepa, who has Wolves away. I'm playing a back three of Chilwell, who's got Wolves, Trippier, who's got Brentford, and Luke Shaw, who currently is flagged, who has Everton at home, who I'm hoping is fit for that game. If he's not, I do have a decent bench, so I could bring whoever in that sense, and I'm not too worried if he does miss out. In the midfield four, I've got Mitoma and March, the Brighton midfield, who have Tottenham away. So we'll have to see what they do. Could be a bit of a tough game for them, but with the form they're in, I'm quite confident. I've got Rashford and Fernandes as well, who have Everton at home, which is I say still a decent fixture for Man United. Up front, I've got Watkins, who's got Forest at home. I've got Tony, who's got Newcastle at home, and I've got Harry Kane, who has Brighton at home as well. It could be in a decent fixture for him. You look at on the bench, I've got Raya, who's got Newcastle at home. I've got Saka currently, who is benched, who I'll come on to, who's got Liverpool away. And I've got Estupiñán and Botman as well. As you can see from the top right hand of the screen, I have one free transfer and I have about 1.8 million in the bank as well. So looking at my team, the plan, transfers is always at the forefront, what my plans are this week. So as you guys can see from the thumbnail, Haaland is the big discussion point. Whether we decide to bring Haaland in or not. As of now, we don't actually know if Haaland is going to play in that game against Southampton, but this is assuming Erling Haaland is fit for that game in game week 30. So what my current plans are is actually to take out Tony and to take out Saka, because unfortunately I can't go from Tony to Haaland in one move. I know a lot of you can, because a lot of you have a lot of money in the bank, but I can't do Tony to Haaland. And I don't want to get rid of Kane. I could easily do Kane to Haaland for free, but I do want to keep Kane, especially for game week 31 when he's got a home fixture against Bournemouth, which I could see as being haul-worthy. So current plan is Tony out. And the money I'll be getting out of is Saka, who will be downgraded. So Tony and Saka out. And I will be bringing in Haaland and Andreas Pereira as well on the bench, who take some money out my team. So current plans is to take a -4. Now, I know a lot of people might think that's not worth it. But I think for Haaland, it could be. And because I'm probably going to captain Haaland as well. I know the captain's armband is on Rashford right now, but I think I'm going to captain Haaland. If I hear news that he's going to start, it's unlikely Haaland plays 90 minutes. He might play 60 minutes. But even then, against Southampton, I still think I want Haaland. And he probably will be my captain if I hear that he's going to start. So all in all, that is my transfer plans. I'm going to keep it simple. So Saka and Saka to Andreas Pereira to get the money, to do Tony to Haaland for a hit. That leaves me with 1.6 million as well in the bank. And just looking at the team, if Luke Shaw is, if Luke Shaw does miss out, and let's say his hamstring injury is more serious than we think, then Estupiñán will come in, who's got Tottenham away and who's a decent attacking fullback anyway. So I'm not happy. Sorry, I'm not happy. Quite happy to play Estupinian anyway if Luke Shaw is injured. So that's the team. It's quite boring moves. Haaland in. I think it's going to be quite a popular move. So yeah, that's the current thinking for Game Week 30. Let's bring up your team, Jordan, and discuss your transfer plans for Game Week 30.
Okay, so yeah, this is how my Game Week 30 team is structured, looks like. So we start off in goal. We've got Edison, who has Southampton away. Looks like a pretty good fixture for Man City. Hopefully they can keep a clean sheet. Moving on to the defence, we've got Trippier, who's got Brentford away. Ben Mee, who's got Newcastle at home. Kilman, who's got Chelsea at home. In the midfield, we've got Saka, who's got Liverpool away. And Fernandes and Rashford, who have Everton both at home. Matoma, who's got Tottenham away. And in the front three, we've got João Felix, who's got Wolves away. And Tony's got Newcastle at home. And Watkins, who has Nottingham Forest at home. And currently, the captaincy is over Rashford. I think that won't change, I don't think. I think he's a good captaincy for this week, obviously, with Everton playing away at Old Trafford. And obviously, Man United playing at home looks pretty good. And considering Man United are playing for top four, that's a must-win game for us. And the vice captaincy is over Saka. On my bench, I've got Meslier, who's got Crystal Palace at home. Odegaard, who's got Liverpool away. Dunk, who's got Tottenham away. And Luke Shaw, who is flagged for hamstring, who's got Everton at home. Now, because of Luke Shaw having that hamstring injury and not knowing how serious it is, I'm forced to play Kilman for him. I was debating whether I play Dunk or Kilman, but I think because Wolves have a home fixture against a struggling Chelsea, there might be a possibility that they could potentially keep a clean sheet, as mad as that sounds. But we'll have to wait and see. But nonetheless, I got one free transfer. I got a lot of money in the bank of 6.8 million. And yes, this does go back to the Haaland chat. So obviously, because we don't know yet if Haaland's going to be fit or not for the Southampton away game in Game Week 30, I am just going to go to the next slide because I think I'm going to roll my transfer if it turns out that Haaland isn't. Let's just assume he isn't going to play or at least start in that Southampton away fixture. So I might just roll the transfer and just see what the news brings close to the time, because that could easily change. I could bring in Haaland, and if I was going to bring in Haaland, I'd probably take out João Felix for him, as I don't think Chelsea are really going to change much at the end of this season, coming as their goals amount is really lacking a lot, and João Felix in that double game week didn't prove much of an asset. So it will be João Felix out and Haaland in if he is fit, but if he's not, then I'm just rolling the transfer over and I'll have 2 free transfers going forward.
Yeah, similar to me. I could just not bring Haaland in if we hear any news that he's definitely going to miss out or anything like that. But I think he should play. But the worry is whether he plays 60 minutes, etc. Like that could easily happen because Man City do have a Champions League, very important Champions League game coming up in midweek after the Southampton game. I think 3 days after. So they play on the Saturday. I think on the Tuesday they play Champions League. So Pep will have one eye on that. And Haaland is very important, and his minutes could be managed, especially coming off that injury. So that's one to watch. Let's take some of your questions, and yeah, we'll see what the chat is saying. But before we do get to your questions, guys, make sure you are dropping a like on the video if you are enjoying the content. So as always, like the stream, and also if you haven't already, please do subscribe to our channel as well. It really helps the growth of the channel and keeps us making these videos for you guys. Got a comment from Dara. Hope I said your name right. If Haaland is ruled out, would you go for KDB? The man deserves way more points than he's getting, so I'm considering bringing him in this week for Madison and captaining him. Thoughts? I'll give my thoughts on it very quickly. I mean, I think KDB is a really good pick, but the problem is the money. If you do bring KDB in this week, then how are you going to get to Haaland next week or even the double game week in 34? Well, yeah, you might have to sell KDB to bring in Haaland. Because you can't have KDB, Haaland. Maybe you have Fernandes in your team. Maybe you want Salah. It depends on your transfer plans going forward. If you don't care about having Salah for game week 34 and you're put off by Liverpool, for example, then maybe KDB makes sense. But for my team, I can't afford KDB because I am pre-booking Salah in game week 34, and I need to save money up for him. So that's why I'm going to sell Kane to fund Salah. But yeah, it's an interesting one because KDB obviously coming off the back of that goal and an assist against Liverpool, I think. So he's looking good. But I still think I'd go Salah over KDB for game week 34 and have Haaland in my team. And if I was going for a Man City midfielder, I think I'd take a punt on someone like a Grealish. What's your thoughts on it, Jordan?
Yeah, I was going to say something similar. I mean, I wouldn't be looking more to go for KDB. I'd probably go more for Gundogan or Mahrez, just because of Foden being out for 5 weeks. This is a good position to bring in a Man City midfielder like Mahrez, for example, who you'd probably expect will play like Grealish more minutes, obviously because of Foden being absent from the team. It does make cheaper midfield options like Mahrez a great pick, especially with his ownership as well being really low. I think it's like 2%, whereas KDB's one is a little bit considerably more higher and he's more expensive. Even though he's probably, I'll say he might be worth the price for the amount of points he may deliver, and especially with Man City having a double coming up in, I believe, in 34, it might be a good asset to bring in. It's just the Haaland route. You need to take a -4 potentially to bring him back in. That's the only thing if you want to obviously bring back Haaland, and obviously you'd have to take out KDB again out.
Yeah, unless you go Kane to Haaland. If you've got Kane, it's hard to say what your team is. Ali Max says Jesus in this game week. No Haaland for me. Interesting. Jesus is quite highly transferred in this game week. He's got a fixture against Liverpool, so it's interesting to see how he does in that game. Is it worth doing an early transfer for Haaland? Probably not. I don't think he's due to rise, is he? I've not seen the price rise, but if
he
he
doesn't
is,
really
then
rise, does he, Haaland? Because he's so highly owned. Still,
yeah,
his price doesn't really go up.
I mean, if he's gonna rise, then maybe if you've got the money to do Tony to Haaland, then yeah, maybe go for it. But I don't think he is due to rise. Michael says Shaw replacement. Obviously, we both have Luke Shaw. I'm probably going to keep him even if he's injured because I've got Estupiñán on the bench and Botman, who's got a decent fixture. Have you thought about any Shaw replacements right now? I mean, I'll be prepping for double game week 34. So one player I have in mind is actually a Liverpool defender, which might surprise a few. Like someone like Trent is still on my mind for game week 34 to bring in for his double against Tottenham and Fulham, both home fixtures. But yeah, I'd be looking to bring in someone with a double, ideally. Not giving it much thought. But yeah, Trent is definitely on my Trent is definitely one of my picks potentially for game week 34. But whether you have the money to go short to Trent, I wouldn't do it this week against Arsenal. Because I expect Arsenal to score. But yeah, Jordan, have you thought about any replacements for sure? Because you're in that boat as well.
I'll say Estupiñán is a good replacement because I know Brighton have 2 doubles yet to be rescheduled. So Brighton do have a lot of double game weeks coming up, and I think even though they have Tottenham away and then Chelsea afterwards, I mean 2 hard fixtures, but at least then you'd be set up for after those 2 hard fixtures with Brighton being quite active in terms of goal scoring and Estupiñán's attacking threat as well, similar to Shaw's. I think he'll be a good replacement to have in the team.
Yeah, if you've not got Estupiñán, I've got him on my team already, but he could be a very good pick for the long term as well because Brighton have another 2 double game weeks to come, I think. So yeah, he's one to watch. Watkins captain, he's got Nottingham Forest at home. Yeah, look, Watkins is on hot form right now, scoring it pretty much every week. It seems Emery's doing a brilliant job with Aston Villa. I think they're now up to 7th in the league after they were in the bottom half for so much of Steven Gerrard's managerial stint, but now Emery is doing a big, great job. So yeah, Watkins as a differential captaincy option, I don't hate it, but I think I still prefer a Haaland against Southampton if he's fit, even a Rashford against Everton. But yeah, Watkins has proven that he could be a good pick for captaincy. Have you given it much thought, Jordan? Obviously, lovely 17.9 that double game week.
Yeah, it has trickled into my mind of captaining Watkins, but then I thought again, I have to be very wise now on the captaincy because the last captain I put was Fernandez, and I thought that was a good pick because of obviously the fixture. So I don't know if I want to go Watkins captain this week, and knowing that Rashford has Everton at home or Haaland has Southampton away if he is going to start.
Michael says Maddison out. Yeah, that's why I was not keen on Maddison bringing him in, because he was a short-term play, and I knew even after the double, I'd want to get rid of him quite soon. So yeah, he looks like you'd probably want to take him out soon. John Stones is a good pick. I think if you want Man City clean sheets, they're not getting many clean sheets right now, Man City, but they do have the doubles coming up in 34. So someone like an Edison in 34 could actually be a good move. Someone that that's going to play and start for Man City, because they do have two decent fixtures in 34. Hey lads, thinking about doing Haaland and Alex Moreno in for Tony and Shaw. Well, I wouldn't be bringing in Luke Shaw. Oh, so Alex Moreno in for Tony and Shaw. Yeah, I mean the Haaland move. Yeah, it's gonna be a popular move for sure. Big Super Frank bid, Super Frank. I don't know what you mean about. Yeah, it looks like Frank Lampard is now going to be Chelsea's interim manager for the last 9-10 games. So it's going to be interesting to see what Chelsea turns up, because Lampard wasn't great at Lampard wasn't great, was he, in his role at Chelsea before he got sacked for Tuchel. So surprise appointment. I didn't expect it, but look, you never know. We'll have to wait and see if he can get a tune out of Chelsea, but I'm not so sure he can. But look, he's a fan favorite. Maybe he gets some of the players on side. Maybe gets a good like a feel good factor for the end of the season, and maybe he can pick up some points. But yeah, it's just temporary, and Chelsea will be looking to bring in a proper manager start next season. Ali Mack says, gents, most people search on YouTube putting the FPL. Have you thought about dropping the from your channel? To be fair, I've not really considered dropping if that makes sense, the FPL Duo, but it's an interesting suggestion. I don't know if it makes much of a difference, but we'll definitely consider it. But yeah, thanks for the comment. And yeah, we're probably going to wrap it up here. I think last question, Jordan, for you, Maddison replacements, assuming that you want to take Maddison out.
Yeah, Maddison replacements. I'll probably say, I'll probably mention like we did earlier, Grealish could be a good pick, especially with the Southampton away fixture. I imagine that would be a good game for him in that sense. And obviously, Man City do have a double long term in 34, so he would be a nice pick for that as well, as differential, low ownership.
Yeah, I mean, if you need cheap players, obviously the Brighton players like March, Matoma, if you've not got them yet, I know McAllister's doing really well, who I would prefer, but McAllister went off injured, I think, so you have to wait and see if McAllister is fit. But if he is, I think he's a good pick for a cheap replacement. Fernandez, even though a lot of people might be looking to get rid of Fernandez, he does have a double coming up as well. So you might want to save Fernandez. You might want to bring Fernandez in for his double coming up, which is a lot better than the one he had in game week 29. Because I did think Man United's fixtures were very tricky in 29, Newcastle and Brentford. So Fernandez's next double could be easier, just in terms of on paper. And never give up. FPL says, yeah, hit the likes button, folks. Yeah, make sure you guys hit the like button if you are enjoying the content. And that is going to sum it up for us, really, in terms of segueing into the end of the stream. We hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. Hope you guys are enjoying the content so far. It's been a good game week. Colm says I'm 90% bringing in Gundogan. Obviously, Jordan, I think you mentioned Gundogan. It's an interesting. I'd prefer Grealish personally due to attacking threat. But yeah, you could go for a punt on Gundogan. And Chief says, just want to say congrats, Haas, on your rank. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not going to shout out. I'm not shout and scream about it too much, because it's still not where I wanted to be this season. But it's been a difficult season. Like, I think it's the highest I've been so far, apart from the early rounds, I think. But yeah, look, let's see what happens. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Anything else you want to add, Jordan?
Yeah, just thank you guys for watching. Always appreciate it. Always like the questions you bring into the chat as well. But yeah, have a great Easter weekend, and obviously we'll see you for the next video, which is the deadline stream. So we'll talk about our plans, transfers, and whatnot, and yeah, it should be fun. So tune in for that.
Yep, back on Saturday, I think 10 a.m. UK time for the deadline stream. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any content. And see you guys Saturday deadline stream. Anyway, that's it from us. Enjoy your your long weekend of Easter, and hopefully you enjoy the football as well. Take care, guys, and see you Saturday.